beat me.
Hello everyone, this is Akhilesh Gannavarapu reporting for MMAindia.com. I have fellow journalist Jennings from All Sports Asia. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, and how has Singapore treated you so far?
Such an amazing place to come to see an amazing fight card, really. So, lucky to be here, enjoying every minute of it, really, yeah.
And what do you make of tomorrow's fight night?
For me, without doubt, it's the strongest fight pass card we've ever had. It's stacked. There's so many big names, not just locally as you'd expect, but globally, ex-champions, intriguing matchups. It's going to be immense.
Yeah, and we talked to Dan Hardy about that, both you and I, and we said the same thing. You know, it's probably the most stacked fight pass card that UFC has put on so far, and he agreed with us. So, you know, not dwelling too much into Singapore and everything else, let's just dive right into tomorrow's fight night. So the first major fight I want to talk about, just a little because it's on fight night prelims, which is between John Tuck and Gomi. Sorry, I just blanked out. So Takanori Gomi and John Tuck. That's going to be an explosive fight, isn't it?
Yeah, what a fight that is. Again, two big names. John Tuck's good up-and-comer. Gomi, what a legend of the sport. Yeah, that's going to be... And I mean, for that to be early in the card just shows how stacked this card is.
Right, and you have Uka Sasaki as well as Alex Caceres on the prelims. So this is going to be a massive fight night for Singapore fans as well.
Yeah, big time. I mean, I love Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres. What an entertaining fighter. Rodriguez, he had that really entertaining fight with. That's just
Alex.
Unpredictable 3 rounds of fighting I've ever seen. So, again, huge fight. That fight's way down the card. So that's going to be probably one of the funnest fights of the night.
And the shocking thing is, Rafael Dos Anjos is going to open the fight night on the main card. He's going to open it. You know, former lightweight champion who's going to move up to 170 to face Tarek Saffiedine. You can know that, you know, when someone like RDA is opening the card the evening, you know, it's going to be an explosive fight night for us.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't champion that long ago, although lightweight division down. So he's moving up, but that gives it a bit of intrigue as well. So an ex-world champion moving up against a tough guy, ex-Strikeforce champion, so he knows what it's like to get the belt, although UFC's a sort of a next league up. Although the Strikeforce guys, like the Luke Rockhold was the Strikeforce champion, they've all done pretty well. Yeah, so they've all done pretty well. But so that's going to be a fantastic start to the main card. Yeah, really looking forward to that one. And there does look a bit of a size difference. So again, it's going to be fascinating.
Right, and the fascinating aspect of the fight for me is just their styles, because I remember Tarek Saffiedine, when he did not come to UFC yet, he faced Nate Marquardt in probably one of the most explosive fights that I've seen, because he just, you know, kept kneeling it with, you know, bam, bam, leg kicks. We know of RDA's leg kicks. We know that, you know, how dangerous it can be. But then when Tarek Saffiedine did that was phenomenal. So it's Muay Thai fighter, good grappler against good grappler, someone that switches stances more frequently in Tarek Saffiedine against someone like RDA who just, you know, goes with those leg kicks. I remember that fight with Diaz. His leg was, you know, busted. So it's going to be an explosive fight tomorrow.
Yeah, big time. I mean, RDA... He's coming off them losses, tough losses as well, so he's going to be extra motivated. He hasn't got a weight cut, which can be huge. I mean, you look at someone like Robert Whittaker went up from welterweight to middleweight, and the impact he's had has been sort of phenomenal. So I think, like Dan Hardy mentioned at some point, it'd probably be better for RDA if there were more weight classes. Right. He might be a little bit too small for welterweight, probably a little bit too heavy for lightweight. So it'd be in his advantage, certainly if there's a weight in between, but there isn't at the moment, so he's going to have to go up, and again, like I said, without the weight cut, we might see the best RDA we've ever seen. And if so, I fancy his chances, even with a little bit of a slight weight disadvantage, if we see the best RDA we've ever seen, and we've seen a fantastic RDA in the past, I could see him getting his hand raised at the end.
Right, so you picking RDA. For me, just when it comes to the clinch game, I see Tarek Saffiedine just overpowering RDA just because of the size difference, as you said. But yeah, you can never count a former champion out. I'm going to pick RDA as well. Moving on, you have Dong Yoon Kim against Colby Covington. again, an explosive fight. We know of Dong Hyun Kim's striking, we know of Colby Covington's wrestling, and Dong Hyun Kim's again grappling. And recently Dong Hyun Kim said, "Oh, I'll kill him, I'll survive, and I'll move on." And Colby Covington said, "You need to bring the best version of yourself. Even that won't be enough for you to pick up the victory." So, how do you see this fight playing out?
It's a tough one. I mean, Dong Hyun Kim, is he ranked 7?
Yeah, he was ranked 7.
Colby's unranked, but yet he's the favourite, which is crazy. I mean, he's 11-1, so he's good. I don't think he's fought any huge names yet. I think his last win was a decision, wasn't he? I think which is a bit disappointed himself. Said he hasn't fought this year. Said he's going to come back better and stronger than ever in all aspects of the game. So, yeah, again, it's a fascinating matchup. It's fascinating for the fact that the underdog on paper is the favourite. And they're both characters. Dong Hyun Kim is a funny guy. Like you say, brutal in the ring. We both were talking about before, the spinning elbow against Hathaway, wasn't it? Yeah, which was one of the most explosive elbows I've ever seen. And Colby, when we've chatted him a couple of times this week, such a nice guy, one of the nicest guys I've met, although, talked about that before, so many of them are really nice. So it's a hard one to pick, and again, it's going to be a fun one, contrasting styles, 2 characters. Yeah, looking forward to that one.
And the interesting thing is, Colby is going in as the odds-on favorite, while Dong Hyun Kim is the ranked fighter in the bout. So it's unpredictable right off the bat.
It is, and Dong Hyun Kim's fought everyone. I mean, he's had so many fights in the UFC, and he's not the favourite. It's crazy. I mean, that shows how confident people are in Colby. I mean, he's good. He's upcoming. He hasn't fought any big guys so far, like name-wise. But it just shows his promise of his favourite. And it's interesting to see sometimes, if you're used to being the underdog, suddenly to be the favourite, whether that gives you the confidence. I think it's going to give him the confidence. There's always a slight chance added pressure might have a negative effect. So we'll see how that plays out as well. But yeah, back to Dong Hyun Kim. I mean, just looking through his opponents, he's fought, but Nick Diaz, is it? Too many to list. Time Woodley, yeah. You name it, he's fought them. So he's got that on his side, the experience. You could tell from the weigh-ins earlier, he's enjoying it, he's having fun. So, yeah, can't wait for that one.
And moving up, what's the next fight on the third card?
In the co-main event.
So there are 5 fights on the main card.
I think 4 in the main. So I think Andre Arlovsky is in the co-main event.
Okay, so it's Andre Arlovsky against Tipura. Again, when we spoke to Andre, he didn't look too pleased going into the fight. No, we know that Andre, former champion, obviously can never count someone like that out. We have seen with JDS, making a run for the title, so you can never count someone out. But do you think going into this fight, and we've seen during the fight week itself, Andre, it's just a fun tidbit. You tried to have a quirky moment with Andre, where you said, "Oh, you don't have to cut too much weight, do you?" And that didn't go down too well with Andre, I guess.
No, it's kind of I guess it's fight week. So even if you're not cutting weight, I guess you're getting in that mindset. Most of the guys in the UFC are so nice, give so much of their time, enjoy the media. I don't think Arlovsky enjoys the media side as much. Maybe you've got to get to know him a bit, because I've seen the fun side of him. I didn't bring it out of him with my little attempt, so yeah, I might not try it with him again. Maybe I'll stick my little funny jokes to other fighters. But yeah, he's coming off probably 4 losses. So again, that's another reason. If you're maybe not taking it seriously after 4 losses, then maybe you shouldn't be fighting. So maybe that's a good sign. So he's going to be determined. He doesn't want to lose a 5th fight in a row. I mean, that's who loses 5 times in a row in UFC. I think normally 3 is a magic number and it's goodbye. So he's going to be up for it, and he's fighting a dangerous guy. Although he's not ranked, so you could look on paper that it's maybe a comfortable fight to stop the losing streak. The fact he's won his last 2 fights the way he has, and if you look at some of his highlight reels, he just looks like a scary fighter. So it's a dangerous fight for both guys, really. Arlovsky is fighting a killer, and he can't afford. If he loses, you've got to say, what next? Could he fight again? And obviously for Tibiro, he's fighting a legend. And this is going to be his toughest fight so far. So, yeah, another interesting fight.
Yeah, and it's interesting you brought up his previous 2 wins. Those were devastating knockouts. But his biggest weapon is his wrestling, Marcin Tybura. And we know Andre, we have seen in some of his fights where he comes out right of the blocks aggressively. We saw that against Josh Barnett more recently. Andre is no slouch when it comes to grappling as well. Excellent BJJ, excellent, ground game. But do you think just going into the fight with all the weight in the world on him, that might actually work against Andrei Arlovski?
It could do, but then he's the next UFC heavyweight world champion. He was at one point the baddest man on the planet, so he's got that on his side. And he's getting to, is there as much, to a certain extent, when you've lost 4 and you're getting on a bit, there's a little bit less pressure. People are going to be expecting him to lose, so we might be playing that game. Some fighters need to try and take the pressure off. Some fighters need to put the pressure on. I don't know him well enough to know which one that is, so I don't know if he's putting pressure on himself or trying to take the pressure off, but we'll find out, I guess, in about 24 hours.
Right, and now the main fight, the main event of the night. Kind of a bit of a vindication for Holly Holm to pick up the victory against Bethe Correia, but Holly, again, we talked about Andre coming with consecutive losses. Holly is coming in with consecutive losses, so it's going to be a big fight for the ex-champion facing an ex-number 1 contender, an ex-challenger in Bethe Correia. So just going into the fight, yesterday even, Holly looked still kind of tentative, I would say, because she was not as open as she could be. But again, Bethe Correia, she just was very confident. She exuded confidence. She made it look like, I'm going to blast through Holly Holm. Interesting contrast of styles. Once again, a kickboxer against a brawler. So what do you make of this fight?
Again, another interesting one. Holly, she's coming off 3 losses, but very tight losses. To Misha Tate, she was dominating for 4 3/4 of the round, and then just got caught. In the last fight against Jermaine, could have gone either way. There's also the 2 illegal blows, so that was unlucky. And against Shevchenko,
She was just outclassed.
yeah, but even then, she wasn't. I don't think she was dominated.
Right.
So even that was a decision. So I don't think her confidence can be that low. But then she's obviously fighting someone who's extremely confident. Right. Reminds me a little bit of Conor McGregor in the way that she's so adamantly confident, works so hard, and even the loss to Ronda Rousey, she's very good at putting anything negative out of her mind and just concentrating on the positive. So you've got to appreciate that about her. But like I sort of said to Holly yesterday, she's very vocal with all of her opposition. And I said to Holly, is that going to give her any extra motivation? She said, I take motivation from anything. If they're too nice, I think, what's going on here? They're going to motivate me. If they're being verbal, then that's obviously motivation. So I think Holly's going to be too strong, personally. Right. Despite what Heaven's commented, I think Holly Holm's going to be a little bit of a class above. I think she's going to be a bit too technical. And I think like she said before, she's had great fight camps, just hasn't quite happened. I think it's going to click for her tomorrow night.
Right, and the other interesting thing is, Bethe Correia is giving up a lot in reach. And when you're coming from a gym like a camp like Jackson Wink, which thrives on range control, that's going to be another big component that plays in the fight. We have seen against with Germaine de Randamie, Holly Holm was really good in maintaining the distance when she needed to. The only thing that she couldn't do was close it. But against Bethe Correia, I don't think that would be big of a factor because Holly again has the side stance, Bethe more has a front-on stance. From a recent fight against Renault, I don't think Bethe will take a chance and grapple with Holly just because Holly is so much stronger physically, coming down to 135 again. So, who do you pick? Because this is going to be a toughie for you. Who do you pick as the winner?
I do pick Holly Holm. I think, like I said, she'll be too fast. I think on one hand, obviously, Bethe lost to Ronda. Holly beat Ronda, although there's contrasting styles, so that doesn't always work. But the fact that Bethe does come forward, and Ronda, who, as we've seen the last couple of fights, hasn't been as good with her hands when the other fighter's been very good striker, and she beat kind of bet her own game in a way. Holly's obviously striking is another level to one. So it's going to be interesting to see what Betch does. She's highly confident, but I can't see how the fight can go for her to come out on top. I mean, Holly, her strength is a strike, and even though in the last fight she was trying to grapple more, so maybe there was a little bit of lack of confidence in her own striking there. But I think tomorrow night's going to be her technique against someone who's a bit more of a hustler is going to come in and try and make the fight a bit not dirty but scrappy. Right. So I think Holly, if Betch does that, I think Holly's just going to be able to pick her up a bit like she picked off Ronda Rousey. So, right. But anything can happen, as we know, in the fight game. Right.
So that is it from us. He's picking Holly Holm. I'm picking Holly Holm. But I picked Ronda Rousey when I was at UFC 193, so I could be very wrong. So, do tune in tomorrow night for UFC Fight Night Singapore. It's going to be an explosive card, as we have previously said. The most stacked card we both feel that the UFC has put on Fight Pass. We're going to be live inside the Singapore Indoor Stadium, coming to you. We'll bring you the latest updates, analysis, what's going to happen between the fights and everything else. So do tune in tomorrow again for exclusive interviews, post-fight interviews, our analysis, our review, and we look forward to an amazing, amazing night tomorrow.
We do. Can't wait. We're lucky to be Octagon side, so can't wait.
Do tune in. And where can the fans find you on Twitter? Anything you want to plug in?
They can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/first, that's 1st, servicetv.com, or on Twitter at Leon, again 1st, service.
All right, fantastic. So this is Akhilesh Gannavarapu from MMAindia.com coming to you live from Singapore, and I will see you guys tomorrow again. Thank you.